Hello, welcome to Well Balanced Kids' latest video. Today we're going to be doing nocturnal animals. That's animals that only come out at night. I'm guessing you know one already in the picture behind me. That's right. Foxes are nocturnal animals that love to come out and eat and play and do whatever they do in the evening and at night time when we're all at home or in bed. So what other nocturnal animals do you know? Can you think of any? We're going to be doing quite a few today. One of my favourites is the bat. There's all different types of bats. And I really like the little fruit bat because they look really cute and they make lovely little squeaking noises. And they're so clever the way they work out where everything is, even when it's pitch black. They are clever nocturnal animals to be able to move around and see when there's no light. So let's get our bodies warmed up so that we can be all the different types of nocturnal animals that we can tend to be. Are you ready? Let's get going then. So get yourself on your mat or a space where you've got plenty of area around you that's all free of anything. We don't want you falling over bits of toys or furniture. And make sure your feet are hip apart. And roll those shoulders back. We spend a lot of time crunched over desks or looking at computers or maybe looking at phones or TVs. And that can make our necks all crunched up and our shoulders all stiff. So let's roll them backwards and then roll them forwards. Really getting a bit of flexibility in them. Maybe pull them all up and let them down. Get rid of any tension that might be there. And then bring your hands up high, stretching towards the ceiling, stretching high as you can. Imagine someone's pulling your arms and you're like a piece of chewing gum getting stretched. And then bring your shoulders down. And put your hands on your knees and flatten out your back. You can do that by really pushing your bottom out, pushing it out as much as you can, and just looking down to the floor so that your neck and your spine is one straight line. And then bring your hands down to the floor and drop the other leg. Don't let your knee touch the floor, the one that's stretched behind you. Just try and get that hip nice and low. And hands straight in front of you and feet both back, and make your body into a nice straight line. No bottoms in the air or leaning down, but just nice and straight. Create a nice plank shape. And then knees to the floor, bottoms to the feet, head to the floor, stretching yourself out, imagining you're a little creature curled up in a nice warm space, maybe having a little sleep because it's daytime and you're not ready to come out yet. Then come forward, belly on the floor, and look up to the ceiling. Curl your toes under, push back, bring your feet down to the floor, maybe stretch them out a little bit by pedaling, as we call it, trying to get those heels as close as you can to the floor. Push that bottom high into the air, high as you can. And just look at where your belly button would be if it dropped to the floor right now. And left foot forward, other knee near to the floor, both feet together, flatten your back, bring your hands up high and back to prayer position. So we've done one round of our sun salutation. We're going to be saying goodbye to the sun soon because we're going to become those nocturnal animals. So let's just do one more round. Say thank you to the sun for warming up the planet all day and giving us light. Here we go. Hands up high, shoulders drop. Hands on your kneecaps, stick that bottom out. Put your hands on the floor, one foot back. Both feet back,
hands and into plank. Knees to the floor, bottom to the feet, head to the floor. Nice big stretch. Then belly to the floor, head up. Pull the toes under. Bring your feet and your heels as close as you can to the floor. Push your bottom up. Push back from your hands. Try and get that back lovely and straight. And then feet forward. And then bring your feet together. Flatten your back. Arms up high. And finish with frog pose. Great. So what's going to be our first nocturnal animal? Well, I did say I liked bats, so that's what we're going to do. So for bat pose, there isn't really a bat pose in yoga, but I like to pretend that this is bat pose. So what we're going to do is we're going to stretch out our legs nice and wide, not so wide that you fall over, but as wide as you can. And obviously bats live upside down on trees, don't they, when they're sleeping in the daytime. So we've got to go upside down too. So I hope you can hear me when I go right down to this. And see whether you can get your hands on the floor. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I hope you can still hear me though. And we're going to go bring both our hands to 1 foot. And if you can only get to here, that's absolutely fine. Just go as far as you feel comfortable. And then we're going to go round and bring our hands to the other foot, like so. And then we're going to go round to the middle again. See whether you can get any further down now that you've had a bit of a stretch. And put your hands through the back. See whether you can get down. And when you've done that, can you get even further down? Each time you stretch, you loosen up those muscles. And it just enables you to go that little bit further so that each round you're going a bit further down. Maybe you can get your head on the floor, but it doesn't matter if you can't. So let's do one more round to this side and this side and down to the middle. Really let yourself just hang there as if you are a bat sleeping on a tree. And then slowly, slowly, slowly come back up. Let that give you a good stretch all down the inside of your legs and down your back. A good way for stretching out your back, that. Think how bats must feel being upside down all day. Make sure you do come up slowly though, otherwise you can get a bit of a dizzy head. So another nocturnal animal is a toad. So for this, we're going to do frog pose, because frogs and toads are kind of similar, aren't they? So we place our feet on the floor, a bit more than hip width apart, and the feet pointing outwards. And then we go down. We go down. And if you can keep your feet flat on the floor, brilliant. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's all right. And we've got our little bouncy little frogs and toads here, wanting to jump about. So can you give us a jump, like whoop, up and down, like a toad might do, or a frog might do? How many jumps can you do? And how high can you go? Have a bit of fun jumping around, being a frog or a toad. Maybe you want to make a toad noise. So we do have this beautiful, beautiful fox behind us, don't we? I do love foxes. They make some very strange noises at night, but they are the most beautiful creatures, and I love their big, fluffy tails. So we're going to be a fox. So we're going to do the downward dog pose that we did in the warm-up. We're going to go from downward to upward dog. So get your feet, your hands shoulder width apart, underneath your shoulders, and then push up and push your bottom as high as it can go. Push back from your hands so that your back is nice and straight, and you can pedal out those feet so that you can get your heels as close as you can to the floor if you can't get them completely. Really bend down as if you're like a fox stretching in the night. And then maybe the fox is howling at the moon. Ooh. That wasn't a very good fox howl, was it? Can you do a better howl than that? I bet you can. Ooh. And then up, back into stretching, get the stretching out, and then howling at the moon. Ooh. Ooh. That sounded more like a pigeon. I don't think I'm very good at this howling lark. Let's do one more time. Up, bottoms into the air, in that big foxy stretch, and then howling at the moon. Ooh. I don't think anyone would think that I was a fox, do you? Okay, but look, what's out there flying through the night sky? It's an owl. Owls only really come out at night, don't they? So let's be an owl. So we're going to do a balancing pose here. So get that one foot really strongly, firmly rooted. Maybe spread out your toes so that you're really firmly rooted. Bring your arms out, shoulder height, and then just lean forward so that your arms, those beautiful wings of an owl. You can keep your foot on the floor if that helps, or you can go further up and go as far as you can before coming back down. Remember, it has to be done on both sides. So get that other foot, toes spread out, arms out, and then slowly, slowly, don't go too quickly, otherwise you'll fall over. Just spread those wings out and be an owl soaring through the sky. Well done. Now we're going to go a bit further afield. Now we're going to go to the lands where there's hippopotamuses, because they only come out at night. Big lolloping things coming to the waterhole to swim and bathe and drink. And what we're going to do for hippo, there's no hippo pose in yoga, but what we're going to do is a pose that's known as bull pose. So we go back up like we did with the fox and downward dog, and then we bring one foot to the middle of the mat and we bring the other knee to our forehead. So you're really curving your back like a big old hippo. And then bring that foot down and bring it to the middle of the mat, and then bring the other one to our foreheads. Imagine you're a big old hippo. And down. And there's something else that comes out at night called a skunk. They're usually black with a big white stripe. People tend to know them because they can give off a really, really horrible smell to scare off their predators and the other creatures that are trying to kill them. And they have big, big, fluffy tails, don't they? So we're going to get into our little skunk pose. Hand under our shoulders, knees under our hips. So we're making a nice square shape with our bodies. And then we bring up one arm and the opposite leg and stretch it out. Make sure you've got the opposite arm and leg, otherwise you'll fall over. So bring out the other one. And we can imagine that we're a skunk walking through the undergrowth, slowly checking out what we can find to eat, keeping an eye out for the creatures that might have it in. for us. Did you like being a skunk? One of my favourite creatures. Don't get to see them very often these days. Got to really look out for them. It's a hedgehog. They only come out at night. And for hedgehog, we're going to lie on our backs and bring our knees into our chest. Bring them in as much as you can, as much as is comfortable. And then bring our heads up to our knees. And if you like, you can roll back and forth. So rock and roll, like a little hedgehog that's rolled into a ball because it's scared and it's just rolling around a garden. I like doing that. It's a really nice massage for your back. Do you know you shouldn't give hedgehogs milk? Lots of people used to put out milk for them, but really you should give them cat food, I believe, and water. And finally, another little animal that comes out at night, and we see quite a few of them around here, though our cat likes to get them as well, and that's mice, little tiny mice. So we're going to curl up into a ball the other way now and pretend that we're a teeny little mouse coming out at night. So you can either have your knees together or your knees apart, and bring your head to the floor and hold your feet and just sink into the mat and pretend you're a tiny little mouse. Maybe you might want to make a little mouse noise. Imagine that you're scurrying about in the undergrowth trying to find something tasty to eat. And then slowly, very slowly, bring yourself up. And you are done. A lovely nocturnal animals. Hope you enjoyed that. So today, for our little mindful activity, I've got a little memory game for you. How good's your memory? Do you remember things, or do you rely on other people to remember things for you? I have here a tray with 5 things on them, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds to memorise what's on this tray. Can you see what I've got? There's all sorts of things on here. Ooh. And just keep memorising. 5 things, not too many things, shouldn't be too difficult. Have you remembered them? Because they're disappearing. Gone. All gone. Now, what can you remember? What was number 1 that I held up? Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. And number 5. Did you remember them all? Did my actions help you remember? Let's have a look. Did you get a ball? Did you get a pear? Did you get a cup? A wooden spoon? And a jug? Well done if you did. It's good to practice your memory skills. It's really helpful if you can remember things. Okay, for our breathing exercise today, we're going to do square breathing. It's called square breathing because you hold your breath and breathe in and breathe out for equal amounts of time. So it makes a square. So let's breathe in for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a square. You got it? Okay, let's give it a go. You ready? Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Hold. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Hold. Last time. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Hold. Well done. That's a good exercise for when you want to take your mind off any worries or stresses, because it really makes you focus on your breathing and makes you concentrate. And by doing that, you kind of forget about everything else you're worrying about because you're so busy trying to remember 5, 5, 5, 5, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, etc. So it just takes our minds away from our worries and focusing on our bodies and our breath. So now we're going to have our time for relaxation. So get your cushion, blanket, anything you need to feel comfortable, and lie yourself down. As I always say, lie on your back if that feels comfortable, or just lie whichever way feels comfortable for you. And when you're all warm and cozy, if you need to pause the video, then just do. Otherwise, I'll begin. For today, we're going to be in a park at night time. We're going to explore the nighttime animals in the local park. And you're safe and comfortable because you're with people who you love and who look after you and who you trust. And as we go walking around the park, it's lit by a beautiful full moon. So though it's dark, we can still see, and we're not going to bump into anything. And so we quietly creep along the grass and see what we can see. And we stop because we can hear something. What is it we can hear? Maybe it's the crackling of branches or leaves dropping to the floor, or a little rustle in the bushes. I wonder what it could be. Look over there, there's a little mouse just peeking from behind that bush. It's twitching its nose, smelling the air. Maybe it can smell us. It's looking for something to eat. And there, it has a friend with it too. Watch the little mice scurrying across the grass. And then we decide to walk a little further. And as we walk, we hear a little snuffling in the bushes. What's that snuffling, I wonder? Let's stop and wait and see. Oh, it's a little hedgehog. It's coming out and its nose is twitching and it's looking about, and the moon is reflected in its eyes. It's got loads of spikes. And there, it hasn't seen us. So there it goes, snuffling in the bushes. What can we see next? We look up because we can hear the twit-too of an owl as it flies past. Twit-too, it calls as it lands on a branch of a tree high up. And it's looking eagle-eyed to see whether it can find those mice that we saw earlier for its dinner. And then we hear some very strange kind of barking noises that kind of is a high-pitched bark and a scurry and a rustle. Oh, there they are, foxes, 2 of them. And they're scrapping over some food that they've found, and they're burying their noses in an old rubbish bag because they've found something good and tasty to eat. And they've got huge, big, bushy tails. They are magnificent creatures. And so we continue our walk in the park, and I'm going to leave you there to see what you can see in the night, in the moonlight. I'll leave you there for 40 seconds to relax and enjoy the park.
Did you have fun in the park? I wonder what else you saw. Slowly, when you're ready, open your eyes and sit up. And let's bring our hands together and say, Namaste. Thank you for joining me in yoga today. Thank me for teaching you. And as I always say, the goodness in me sees the goodness in all of you. Until next time, bye-bye.